contest that I'm so sure of I launched today, but only one person can enter the contest, and that's Chelsea Hubble. The story's on Infowars.com. Chelsea Clinton offered $1 million for DNA test proving Webster Hubble is not her father. It's got to be with a third party, with video cameras there as they do the DNA test. We can't have that. I have the experts, people that knew him, all of it. Her and Hubble hung out at the law firm, Rose Law Firm. They were a known item. And besides, I'm not trying to be mean. Hubble looks like he has a genetic disorder. The way he talks, if you ever saw him testify, he's like this, look. And so you look at it, I mean, let's just say it. I don't mean it mean. She's an ugly person for helping steal the money from the Haitians. It's in the WikiLeaks. She knows they stole. She talks about, we're killing these people. They're like, that's what we do. And she went along with it. So she went along with the murder of Haitians, with the UN crapping in their UN water supply, giving them cholera, and the rape gangs, the huge AP study about the thousands of children, hundreds murdered, and the Clintons overseeing it with giant child kidnapping rings. Notice they don't want to attack me and say that's fake, because we first broke that. That was in AP a month ago. So this monster, this pig, wants to run around with her new foundations. This Webster Hubble's daughter, this vampire of Haitian blood, this night creature. I mean, Wilbur, a horse is a horse. Of course, that is, of course, unless the horse is the famous Mr. Ed. What?
No, nothing.
But Mr. Ed didn't rob starving and dying Haitian children. So, cover up the UN operation. So, gloves are off with her. She's supposed to be the head of the new UN global tyranny medical system, but that's all blown up in her face. And so Mr. Ed meets Webster Hubble. I dare the media to pick up on this, because 1 million smackers, and I'm not made out of money, but I know that if it's done with real third-party live, that's Webster Hubble's daughter. There's never been genetic features closer. It's never. No one on earth has that small upper lip and that gigantic bottom lip. Nobody's got eyes that look like that. Nobody's got eyebrows. I mean, that's Webster Hubble wearing a wig. So, joining us is one of the main experts exposing all of this, Roger Stone. Roger, do you think she'll take me up on it? Do you think Webster Hubble's daughter will take me up on it?
Well, I think a lot of people need to realize, Alex, is those who say, oh, you're picking on a child. Chelsea Clinton is a 30-year-old adult. Based on reports published in the New York Post and elsewhere, she's very much like her mother, abusive, foul-mouthed, greedy, entitled, and not terribly bright. Of course, Bill and Hillary have kind of left her holding the bag, because she's an officer of the Clinton Foundation. She's on the documents filed with the IRS, and therefore she's legally culpable for the numerous crimes that have been committed there. The Clinton Foundation, as you know, is not a charity. It's a slush fund for grifters. And it's been the vehicle for multi-million-dollar bribes and influence peddling. And Chelsea is actually thinking about running for Congress in a district just north of New York City that is held by Congresswoman Nita Lowey. I'm told that if she really runs, Danny Williams, the abandoned son of Bill Clinton, who currently lives in Arkansas, but could move into that district certainly in time to run, with an eye towards the 40% African-American vote in the Democratic primary. So it could be an epic clash of the offspring of of Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton.
Sure, well, she just got told again.
They're not brother and sister, Alex, because they do not share a common father.
That's right. Let's expand on that. I mean, let's talk seriously. She's obviously Webster Hubble's daughter. I've been hearing that for 22 years from the folks locally. It was well known. But what's your intel on it? But I mean, he has striking, probably, I don't mean this as a funny thing, but he looks like he has birth defect type genetics that is very rare and very expressive. I mean, this looks like he has some type of genetic disorder, and it appears that that genetic disorder, whatever it is, has been passed on. These are strikingly, nuclear fallout victim features.
Well, I think it goes beyond just the physical resemblance between Webster Hubbell and his daughter. First of all, there is the fact that L.D. Brown, who was a personal bodyguard and driver for Bill Clinton, says that Clinton told him that he read about Hillary's pregnancy in the newspaper. Secondarily, there is the fact that the World Net Daily contacted Mr. Hubbell, asked him point blank if he was Chelsea's father, whereupon he said no comment, and he hung up. No denial. It is also true that Larry Nichols said that Hillary Clinton was overheard saying, if I have to do Webb Hubbell to get into the Rose Law Firm, I will do so. Also in Hillary Clinton's own book, she says that a large football player-sized man taught her the proper way to hold a baby. That doesn't sound like Bill Clinton to me.
Well, but they're striking. I mean, it's like if somebody had a genetic disorder where they're like, you know, are missing their teeth or don't have a nose. I mean, I don't mean to make fun of her, but she is such a monster, such a pig. I mean, she's in the emails, you know, talking about dying people and how they're killing people, and she didn't do anything about it. So I'd like to...
And as you know, Alex, she's had multiple plastic surgeries in an attempt to minimize her resemblance to her father. So look, she is clearly, the Clinton Foundation is still in existence. The Clinton political machine is still in existence. And just as Hillary's having a hard time getting off the stage with her selective memory in that performance at Wellesley. In all honesty, in a perfect world, when Hillary Clinton came down off the platform at Wellesley from giving the commencement address, she should have been handcuffed by federal marshals, because it's time for Jeff Sessions to convene a grand jury and examine the criminal activity of the Clinton Foundation. John Podesta, Tony Podesta, what they were doing with the Russians, what they were doing with the oligarchs around Russia.
Hold on, let's talk about Comey coming up and take a few calls. I promise, and I'll let you take over, Roger Stone, so you'll have your own show 5 days a week, so it won't matter when I'm cutting in, because there'll be too much time for me to even be able to do that. But since we're talking about Chelsea Hubbell Clinton and the new contest, $1 million for her if she'll get a paternity test, I thought we should actually hear from her under the Fairness Doctrine and actually hear a statement from her. Here it is.
Hello, I'm Mr. Ed. A horse is a horse, of course, and no one can talk to a horse, of course. That is, of course, unless the horse is the famous Mr. Ed. Go right to the source and ask the horse. He'll give you the answer that you endorse. He's always on a steady course. Talk to Mr. Ed.
That horse could be $1 million richer.
I was about to say, the horses are beautiful, but it's actually on the show and they give it peanut butter or whatever, and its lips goes, oh, Wilbur. Because I was fascinated by Webster Hubbell in the 90s because he was always testifying in Congress about some scandal. And it was like, only thing that moved was his bottom lip. He'd go, in fact, guys, YouTube or go to C-SPAN's own archive, just type in Webster Hubbell testifies. And it's the craziest thing that you've ever seen. It made me believe David Icke, there's like reptoids running things. I don't really believe that. But what is, seriously, I don't mean to make fun of people the way they look usually. Then we're going to go to Jason in Germany and John in Illinois, and I'm going to get out of here and let you take over. But what is going on with Webster Hubbell? I mean, what is this guy's deal?
Well, I think it's very important. He's the guy who does the dirty work for the Clintons. He's the Deputy Attorney General of the United States under Janet Reno. He's supposed to be Reno's manager. Hillary Clinton selected Janet Reno. Janet Reno acted on Hillary Clinton's orders. Hillary Clinton is the one who orders Janet Reno to launch the assault at Waco. And it is Webster Hubbell who transmits that order. Hillary to her lover, Hubbell, the father of her child, to Janet Reno. And as you know, as many as 18 children under the age of 8 die in that conflagration, that unnecessary confrontation.
But it was liberal, so it's okay.
Well, it is horrific, the brute force that the federal government uses on these on these outcasts, and the disinformation about them abusing children and so on. They killed 18 children under 8 in a firefight. Who stands up for children? Who's an advocate for children? Hillary Clinton murders children. There you have it.
Man, Webster Hubbell is so weird. That's a side shot they got straight on in Congress testifying. It is unbelievable.
That's what Chelsea looks like when she talks too, and she has the same forehead and everything.
Yeah, it's that whole rubber lip thing. That
Whole rubber face, even.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. It looks like a rubber mask.
Yeah.
I'm not making fun of the fact that they look like cavemen or something. I don't know what's going on.
Well, and just look at if you just look at the two families just on the table right here, you say, here's the Clinton family versus the Trump family. Here's the Trump family, good people, hardworking, building things, prosperous, tight family, together, have each other's back. Then you have the Clinton family. You have a son who's besmirched from the family. He's not even allowed to exist. They completely deny Danny Williams' existence. Then you have Chelsea Clinton Hubble, who's actually not even the son of Bill Clinton. So there's the Clinton family, a complete nightmare, a complete disaster, not what you want your family to be like, versus the Trump family, which is more like what you would want your family to be like.
And the bigger thing is they're constantly robbing everything. Old folks, pension funds, land, Haitians. They're just a group of disgusting filth. Roger Stone is hosting right now, but he was a little bit late, so we took over. He's with us. He's going to break down Comey here in just a couple minutes. Right now, John, Illinois, then Jason in Germany, and we'll be out of here. John in Illinois, go ahead. You're on the air.
Hey, Alex. Hey, Roger. I was actually calling about something that's been bothering me these past few months. We've been watching the Muslim extremists running over the West and its values. So if you're like me and you've been getting mad at this, this is your chance to do something about it. This Saturday, June 10th, Act for America is having a march against Sharia, and we need everybody there. The lefties are going to be counter-protesting. You know, they're probably going to bring the black bloc and start getting violent or whatever, which is why we need people there with cameras, documenting, observing, and just, you know, acting for America, for American values.
Wow, that's something we need to cover just to show how these scumbag communists are on the side of people, you know, who like literally cut women's genitals off and
Looks
throw.
like there's one in Austin. If you guys could zoom in on that map, it looked like they had one in Austin.
Oh, really? The March Against Sharia?
Yeah, March Against Sharia. It's by Act for America. It's an organization started by Bridget Gabriel, who was born in Lebanese, and she's Middle Eastern. Her family were Christians, and they were driven away from their own country because of Muslim extremists in the 80s. So she came over here, and she's just a great patriot now, standing up for American values. And, you know, these are the types of people we need to support. And it's not even about race. It's not even about
sure, it's about a cult-like ideology. It's about a cult-like ideology. All right, we'll look into it. I've heard of the group. Very interesting. Great point. Anything else, John?
Just one more thing. I like Trump. I like what he's doing. But I just want to say that I don't like the arms deal with Saudi Arabia, and we need to support Rand Paul's blocking of that deal because, mark my words, those weapons are going to land in the hands of ISIS and are going to end up killing American citizens. And Trump his legacy will be destroyed because of that. So
I hear you. It's a good point. Let me get Roger Stone's take on that because I see what Trump doing. He just wants gross numbers to get the economy going. Saudi Arabia got fighter bombers and high-tech missiles. I don't disagree with the caller totally, but that's not going to get in the hands of ISIS. And it's seen as a deal to get them to stop, you know, trying to use civil war to take down Iran, but to give them weapons to stand up against Iran in case Iran attacks. But Roger Stone at the time said it made him sick to watch that. He still likes Trump, but that did make him sick. Roger, your take on that?
Yeah, I want to be very clear. What made me sick, Alex, was the photograph of the president bowing to the Saudi king. If the Saudi king wants to give our president a medal, he can stand on a soapbox. In other words, the president's handler should never have allowed him to be seen that way. He did not bow to the Saudi leaders when he first met them, as Obama did. His genuflection was polite, but nothing outrageous.
Well, he curtsied so he could get it over his head.
This was a bow, and it shows obsequience, and that photograph is now used in the Islamic world as propaganda. I understand why the president feels that he must play off the Saudis against Iran. Right now, a nuclear Iran is a greater problem. Not to say that he trusts the Saudis, not that he doesn't understand their transgressions. So this is high stakes, you know, brinkmanship. This is Nixon-style foreign policy maneuver But I tend to agree that the Saudis, who clearly have a role in the attack on 9/11, ultimately have to be held accountable by this president. Both houses of Congress have passed legislation that, as you know, Alex, would require them to pay the families in New York who were successful in bringing a lawsuit. They resist that. So it's a delicate balance. On overall, I approve what the president did in terms of utilizing the Saudis in this chess game with Iran. On the other hand, they have to pay up ultimately, and I think the president knows that.
Absolutely, but pulling us out of the climate deal, all of it's amazing. Last caller I got time for because Stone's got big news on Comey, the inside scoop. I shouldn't even be cutting in here. Jason in Germany, but I promise to go to your calls. Jason, you're on the air.
Thank you, Alex. I have 1 minute probably or two, and I probably need more like 10, but I'll try to go real fast. First, a little bone to pick with you. I know you guys are super busy, but it's been 2 weeks since I submitted my article to you, and I haven't heard back from anybody. I really need you. I need somebody to look at that article because it's 100% Veritas. I know that's what you're into.
I know, I know we're trying to get a bigger crew to get more articles from you guys, and we're trying hard. What was the title of the article so we can search it in our email?
Okay, it's called "Can Trump Save Himself and Us Too?" It's got my name and in the subject line as well.
You can tweet that at me. If you tweet it at me, I can try to find it.
Yeah, one thing to do is find your own place and post stuff. That's the better way to get it to us, too. But go ahead.
Actually, I posted on an anonymous site, and they classified it as hate speech and took it down. I couldn't believe it. There's nothing hateful about it. Real quick to my second point, and I'm speaking totally from my heart here, Alex. I know this is something you can totally relate to when you have the understanding of complex issues that nobody else seems to have, and you can actually articulate it in a way that other people can understand. I believe that I have the zeitgeist of what Americans want and need, and I believe that if Trump will give it to them, he will win. And I can prove this going back through all my tweet history. In fact, it's so weird that just recently the fallout with Trump and Sessions is hitting, and literally a couple weeks after Sessions came on.
Sure, you've called. Stone agrees with this. He really shouldn't be, put marijuana smokers in prison for 1,000 years. He really should decriminalize. Doesn't mean we agree with the whole marijuana culture. I appreciate your call. Real quick, Roger, take over. Your take on Trump and the marijuana.
Well, I just wish Jeff Sessions would focus more on Susan Rice and the illegal monitoring of Americans by the NSA and less on a victimless crime, marijuana. That's what I thought we appointed Jeff Sessions for, and he's been less than aggressive on the president's behalf.
Straight ahead, Roger Stone is in the cat.